Now we are in the last section of this course, section 4. Describe the capabilities of Microsoft Compliance Solution. This section has 6 modules. Describe the Service Trust Portal and Privacy Microsoft. Describe the compliance management capabilities in Microsoft Purview. Describe information protection and data lifecycle management capabilities in Microsoft Purview. Describe insider risk capabilities in Microsoft Purview. Describe e-discovery and audit capabilities in Microsoft Purview. And describe resource governance capability in Azure. Go starts with Module 1. Describe the Service Trust Portal and Privacy in Microsoft. In this module, we will describe the benefits of the Service Trust Portal, describe Microsoft privacy principles, and describe Microsoft Preview. Service Trust Portal. Service Trust Portal provides information, tools, and other resources about Microsoft security, privacy, and compliance practice. Signing with the Microsoft Cloud Services account to access all the availability documentation. From the main menu, you can access Service Portal homepage. There are trust documents linked to security implementation and design information. There are also industry and regions contains compliance information about Microsoft Cloud Services organized by industry and region. There are Trust Center links to Microsoft Trust Center, which provides more information about security, compliance, and privacy in the Microsoft Cloud. There are also resources linked to resource include information about the feature and tools available for data governance and protection in Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Global Data Center, and also frequently asked questions. My library allows you to add documents and resources that are relevant to your organizations. Everything is in one place. You can also optionally have to email notifications sent to you when a document is updated, or I don't know, you can set the frequency to receiving this notification. Microsoft Privacy Principles. Microsoft products and services run on trust. Microsoft focus on 6 key privacy principles when making decisions about data. Privacy is about making meaningful choice about how and why data is collected and used. It is about ensuring that you have information you need to make choice that are right for your access all Microsoft products and services. The 6 privacy principles are control, putting you and customer in control of your privacy with easy-to-use tools and clear choices. Transparency, being transparent about data collection and used so that everyone can make informed decision. Security, protecting the data, is entrusted to the Microsoft using strong security and encryption. Strong legal protection, respecting local privacy law and fighting for legal protection of privacy. That's the fundamental human rights. No content-based targeting, not using email, chat files, or other personal content to target advertising. Benefits to you, Microsoft, those collect this data, it is used to benefit you, customer, and to make your experience better. Microsoft Priva. Microsoft Priva is a new category of feature in Microsoft Compliance Center, providing solution targeted at data privacy compliance. Microsoft Priva brand is now available in first set of Priva solutions. Priva Privacy Risk Management. A sensitive information template-based capabilities to create privacy risk management policy to identify and remediate privacy risks such as data transfers, data overexposures, data minimizations, and empower information workers to make smart data handling decisions. Priva subject right request helps automate and manage data subject access request process and related case management workflows. Regulation governing the collection and user personal data by enterprises are changing substantially through 2021. According to Gartner reports, the regulation will continue change through 2023 and next, resulting several privacy laws will be available very shortly. Microsoft Priva is located at the Microsoft 365 Compliance Center. This provides following capabilities. Policy. Microsoft Priva solution provides the ability to configure 3 types of the privacy risk management policies. This can be configured with the selection of 200 plus sensitive information type templates already made for specific privacy regulations. In addition, customers can also create their own custom template to further enhance the accuracy and scope of policies. The templates can then be used in risk management categories like this data transfers policy. This policy helps detect personal data being shared across the border of department, region, or countries and provides mitigation actions. The policy can be customized by data storage locations, data types, and geographic regions. Data minimization. This policy helps to detect personal data that has no retention label applied and has not been used for more than a specified number of days. Data overexposure. This policy helps detect external, excessive, and idle access risk. Overview dashboard provides trends and actionable insight on personal data, privacy policy matches and violations, and subject of the right requests. The personal data is categorized by the type, credit card, address, etc. Data location, Exchange, SharePoint, Teams, etc., and geographic locations. Data profile provides an integrated experience for privacy admin to explore the data matching the policy and perform a complete review of the match content locations and users. This provides a familiar experience of the Content Explorer, already available as a part of the data classification feature in Compliance Center. Subject right request. Privacy management streamlines the process of the responding to subject right request by automatically discover subject personal data within the Microsoft 365 environment. It also provides visibility into data such as legal or confidential holds and built-in annotation and reduction capabilities. Now we will start with Module 2. Describe the compliance management capabilities in Microsoft Purview. We will explore Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal, describe Compliance Manager, and describe the use and benefits of Compliance Score. Microsoft Purview Governance Portal. Microsoft Purview solution in Governance Portal provide unified service that help you manage on-premises, multi-cloud, and software as a service SaaS data. The Microsoft Purview Governance Portal allows you to create a holistic, up-to-date map of your data landscape with automated data discovery, sensitive data classification, and end-to-end data lineation. Enable data creators and security administrators to manage and keep your data estate secure. Empower data consumer to find variable, trustworthy data. Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal brings together all of those tools and data. A compliance score in Compliance Scorecard. This card shows compliance score and will forward admins to Compliance Manager, where they can see breakdown compliance score, Compliance score measures the progress in completing recommended improvement actions with in control. This score helps understand the current compliance posture and also help organizations to prioritize actions based on their potentials to reduce risks. The new solution catalog card links to collection of integrated solutions that are used to manage end-to-end compliance scenario across 3 compliance solution areas. The information protection and data lifecycle management section quickly shows you how to use Microsoft Purview compliance solution to protect and govern data in your organization. The insider risk management section on the homepage shows to how your organization can identify, analyze, and act on internal risk before they cause harm. The discovery and response section on the homepage shows to how your organization can quickly find, investigate, and respond to compliance issues with relevant data. The Active Alerts card includes a summary of the most active alerts and a link where admin can view more detailed information such as alert severity, status, category, and more and more. Compliance Manager. Microsoft Purview Compliance Manager is a feature in Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal that helps admins to manage an organization compliance requirements. Compliance Manager can help organizations through their compliant journey, from taking inventory of data, protection risk, to matching complexity of implementation control, staying current with regulation and certification, and reporting to auditors. Pre-built assessment based on the common industry regulation and standards. Admin can also use a custom assessment to help with their compliance needs or organizations. Workflow capabilities that enable admin to efficiently complete risk assessment for the organization. Step-by-step improvement action that admin can take to help meet regulatories and standards relevant to the organization. Some actions will also be managed from the organization by Microsoft. Admin will get implementation details and audit result for those actions. There is the compliance score, which is a calculation that helps organization understand its overall compliance posture by measuring how it's progressing with improvement actions. Key elements of Compliance Manager are controls. Controls is a requirement of the regulation, standard, and policies. It defines how to assess and manage system configuration, organizational process, and responsibility for meeting specific requirements for regulation, standard, and policy. Compliance Manager track some types of controls like Microsoft Management Controls, which controls for Microsoft Cloud Services, which Microsoft is responsible for implementing. Track also your controls, sometimes referred as customer managed controls. They are implemented or managed by your organization, and also track shared control responsibility for implementing those controls is shared by organization and Microsoft. Another key elements are assessment. Assessment is a grouping of controls from specific regulation, standard, and policies. Completing the action within an assessment helps to meet the requirements of standard, regulation, or law. For example, an organization may have assessment that when admin completes all action within it, it helps to bring organization Microsoft 365 setting in align with ISO requirement, for example. One of the next compliance management key elements are templates. Compliance Manager provides templates to help admin to quickly create assessment. They can modify those templates to create an assessment optimized for their needs. Admin can also build a custom assessment by creating templates in their own controls and action. For example, admin may want to create template to cover an internal business process control or a regional data protection standard that isn't covered by one of the Microsoft 150 plus pre-built assessment template. One of the next key elements is also improvement actions. Improvement actions help centralize compliance activity. Each improvement action provides recommended guidelines that is intended to help organizations to align with data protection regulation and standards. Improvement actions can be assigned to users in organizations to do implementation and testing work. Admin can also store documentation, notice, record status updates within the improvement actions. Compliance score. Compliance score measures progress in completing recommended improvement actions within controls. Score can help understand the current compliance posture. It's also help organizations to prioritize actions based on their potential to reduce risk. What's the difference between compliance management and compliance score? Compliance management is an end-to-end solution and enables admin to manage and track compliance activities. Compliance score is a calculation of the overall compliance posture across the organization. The compliance score is available through the Compliance Manager. Compliance Manager is admin capabilities to understand any compliance score so they can automatically improve organization's compliance postures and help you to stay in line with the compliance requirements. How to understand compliance score? The overall compliance score is calculated using the scores that are assigned to actions. Action came in two types: your improved actions and Microsoft actions. Your improved actions is actions that organizations is expected to manage. Action that Microsoft manages for the organization is a Microsoft action. Those action type have point assigned to them that count towards the compliance score. Actions can also be considered technical or non-technical, which also affects how they are impact the overall compliance score. Actions are also assigned to score value based on whether they are categorized as mandatory, discretionary, preventative, detective, or corrective, etc. Actions that are mandatory and preventative with 27 points provides the highest point value towards your compliance score. Organizations accumulate points from every action completed, and compliance score is shown as an percentage representing all action completed, compared with the ones outstanding. Now we are on Module 3, describe the information protection and data lifecycle management in Microsoft Purview. In this module, we will describe the data classification capabilities, describe record management, and describe data loss prevention. Data exploding and is being created, stored, shared anywhere. The estimates that in 2025, the world will create and replicate 163 zettabytes of data, representing a tenfold increase for amount of data created in 2016. Not only is the amount of the data growing, but the type of data continue to evolve. In the past, organizations primarily dealt with documents and emails. Now they are also dealing with instant messages, text messages, video files, images, etc. Many organizations are struggling with how to manage this data overload and the variety of the device in which it's created. Microsoft Information Protection is a family of the complementary solution to help you discover, classify, protect, and monitor your sensitivity information wherever is live, wherever is on the premise, on devices, or even on the cloud. As an administrator, you can easily set up right sensitivity labels for your organizations. Azure gives you a comprehensive solution comprising sensitive data, discovery, automated classification, and labeling across your file servers, Office application, and other web app services that leverage a common classification engine. Azure also simplifies your ability to set policy and specific action against your labels. As a user, you can easily select and apply the appropriate sensitivity label based on the type of information you're working with. Information protection capability even extend to non-Microsoft Cloud services, such as Salesforce's G Suite and much more. This is all made possible via Information Protection SDK that used today by Microsoft apps and services, and variety of the partner application and services to support hybrid customers. Any information protection strategy is only good if you're able to discover and understand sensitivity of landscape across all your organization. Most organizations are largely unaware on how much sensitive data exists, where it lives, and what's happened to it. Windows now understands sensitivity labels and can enforce the policy to prevent inappropriate copying, sharing information to non-compliant location on or device. The good news for administrator is that Azure have simplified your ability to discover sensitive data in your environment, helping you define and implement your protection policies. Knowing your data, protecting your data, preventing data loss, and governing your data are outcomes powered and enriched by the Microsoft Intelligent Platform, which delivers a common approach to classification no matter where data resides. Data classification capabilities of Compliance Portal. The first challenge any organization faces is identify what kind of and how much data exists in their environment. You need to deep understanding of how much sensitive data existing and where is stored before it can be protected and governed. This information is critical to assess your overall risk, which help you define your strategy for protecting and governing your data. You probably will start your journey by discovering and classify important data across your environment. So that means you also will need to find the answer on some of the questions. Who owns my data? What type of data do I have? Where is my data? Why is a risk? What methods can I use to classify my data? Where can I classify my data? And how can I see what's happened to my data over the life cycle? Classification generally is a process to identifying and labeling content in your organization to get better understanding of your data landscape. This is accomplished by applying first sensitive information types, trainable classification, labels, and policies. For sensitive information types is defined by the pattern that can be identified by regular expression or function. One commonly sensitive information type is, for example, credit card number. Microsoft already includes about 100 of most common sensitive information types, or you can create your own. For trainable classifiers, data can also be classified via trainable classifiers. Trainable classifiers use artificial intelligence and machine learning to intelligently classify your data. Content Explorer. Content Explorer is available as a top-on data classification pane of the compliance portal. It enables administrator to gain visibility into the content that has been summarized in Overview pane. Access to Content Explorer is highly restricted because it makes it possible to read the content of scanned files. There are two rules that grant access to Content Explorer. That's the Content Explorer List Viewer and the Content Explorer Content Viewer. Activity Explorer. Activity Explorer provides a visibility into what content has been discovered and labeled, and where that content is. It makes it possible to monitor what's being done with the label content across organization. Admin gain visibility into document level activity, like label changes, label downgrades, such as when someone changed the label from confidential to public. Admin use the filter to see all the details for the specific labels, including file types, user, activities, etc. Activity Explorer helps you understand what's been done with the label content over the time. Admin use Activity Explorer to evaluate and controls already in a place is effective. Sensitivity labels and policies. Sensitivity labels, available as a part of information protection, enable the labeling and protecting of the content without affecting productivity and collaboration. With sensitivity labels, organizations can decide on the labels to apply to content such as emails and documents, much like different stamps are applied to the physical documents. Labels are customizable. Admin can create different categories specific for organizations such as personal, public, confidential, high confidential, etc., etc. Labels are clear text because each label is stored in clear text in content metadata. Third-party apps and services can read it and apply their own protective actions if necessary. Labels are also persistent. After you apply a sensitivity label to content, the label is stored in the metadata of that email or document. Label then moves with the content, including protection setting, and this data became based of applying and enforcing policies. Each item that supports sensitivity labels can only have one applied to it. Sensitivity labels can be used to, encrypt email documentation. When a document or email is encrypted, access to the content is restricted so that it can be decrypted only by the user authorized by the label encryption setting. Also, remain encrypted during no matter where it stays, inside or outside your organizations, even if the file is renamed. And also is encrypted both at rest, for example in storage account, or in a transit when email message traveling to the internet. Sensitivity label also can be used to mark the content when Office apps are used. Marking the content includes adding watermarks, headers, or footers. Header or footer can be added to the email for documents that have label applies. Watermark can be applied to documents, but not email. Sensitivity label also can be used to apply the label automatically in Office app or recommended with recommended label. Admin choose the type of the sensitivity information to the labeled. Label can be applied automatically or configured to prompt user to apply recommended label on documents. Sensitivity labels also can be used to protect content in the containers such as site or groups when this capability is enabled. This label configuration doesn't result in documents being automatically labeled. Instead, The label settings protect content by controlling access to the container where document is stored. Sensitivity label can also be used to extend the sensitivity labels to third-party apps and services. Using the Microsoft Information Protection SDK, third-party apps can read sensitivity labels and apply protection setting. And also, sensitivity labels can be used to classify content without using any protection setting. Classification can be assigned to content just like the sticker that sys and ROMs with the content as it used and shared. The classification can be used to generate usage report and view activity data from sensitivity content. Next term is label policies. After sensitivity labels are created, they need to be published to make them available to the people and services and organizations to use. Sensitivity labels are published to the user groups through the label policies. Sensitivity labels will then appear in Office app for those users and groups. The sensitivity label can be applied to the documents and emails. Label policy enable admin to choose user and groups that can see labels. Labels can be also published for a specific user, distribution group, a Microsoft 365 group, in Azure Active Directory, and more. Also, apply the different label to all new emails and documents that the specified users and groups created. User can always change default label if they believe the document or email has been mislanded. With policy, admin also can require justification for label changing. If a user wants to remove the label or replace it, admin can require user to provide valid justification to complete the action. User will be prompted to provide an explanation or why the label should be changed. With policy, admin also can require user to apply label. That's we call mandatory labeling. It ensures a label is applied before user can send this document in mail or create new site, groups, etc. Also with policy, admin can link the user to custom help pages to help user understand what the different label means and how they should be used. Once sensitivity labels is applied to an email or document, any configured protection setting for that label are enforced on the content. For example, choosing encryption setting for sensitivity label, admin can protect content so that only user within the organizations can open confidential document or email, or only users in specific department can edit or print a document or email, while all other users in an organization can only read it. Or user cannot forward or copy information from email. Also, user cannot open a document after a specific date, etc. Data loss prevention. Microsoft Information Protection Solution has 3 core components. The problem of identifying your sensitive data, determining where it lives, and what users are doing with it. Then the second is to protect your data, which is about creating the right set of the policies to classify and label your sensitivity data, and then leads itself to the right set of protection, like encryption, watermarking, etc. Then is the third one, which is focused on the session, is preventing data loss, which deals with preventing loss of your sensitivity data. So, customer wants to use a single product to protect their data, no matter where it lives. So, Microsoft have coverage for your data, whether it's living in Exchange, email, Teams, chat, documents, SharePoint, OneDrive, even devices. It is not only limited to the Microsoft X system. This coverage goes through the Microsoft Cloud App Security solutions to non-Microsoft Cloud App as well. Now, all of this comes together in the set of the unified and integrated experience, both from the administrator and also for end users. You don't want to new DLP policy to unintentionally block access to thousands of documents which users are accessing. So DLP policy should be rolled out gradually to assess their impact and test their effectivities. There is the three-step process to implementing DLP policies to minimize risk on unattended consequences. First is start in test mode without policy. Use the LDP report and then incident report to assess impact of the policy. You can use DLP reports to view the number of location, type, severity of the policy matches. Based on those results, you can fine-tune the rules as needed. Second one is test mode with notifications and policy tips. That will give you opportunity to educate user about your compliance policies and prepare them for the rules that are going to be applied. And third one is start full enforcement. The action in the rules are applied and content is protected when full enforcement is in place. That also means continue to monitoring the DLP reports and any incident reports or notification to make sure that the results are what you actually need. Here is some scenarios where DLP policy can help. Identify any document containing credit card number stored in user's OneDrive, for example, for business account. Automatically block an email containing employee personal information from being sent outside your organization. What's the endpoint data loss prevention? Endpoint data loss prevention is how to protect and capability and activity monitor capabilities of DLP for sensitive content that how can be extended to Windows devices. Admin can choose the target Windows when creating DLP policies after onboarding this device to Microsoft 365 compliance solution. Endpoint DLP enables admin to audit and manage activities that user complete on sensitive content, including creating an item, renaming item, copy item to removable media, copy an item to the network shares, printing documents, accessing item using unallowed apps or browsers. In the Activity Explorer, you can view this information about what users are doing with sensitive content. Data loss prevention in Microsoft Teams. Data loss prevention capabilities can be extended to the Microsoft Teams, chat, channel messages, including the messaging private channel. With DLP, administrator can now define the policy that prevents user from sharing sensitive information in a team chat session or channel, whether it is in a message or on a file, etc. Retention label and policies. Retention label and policies help organization to manage and govern information by ensuring content is kept only for required period of time and then permanently deleted. Applying the retention label and assigning retention policy help you to complying proactively with industry regulation and internal policies that require content to be kept for a minimum time. Reduce risk for the security breach by permanent deleting all content that organizations is no longer required to keep. Ensure users for content is current or relevant for them, but content has retention settings assigned to it, that content remains in its original location. People can continue to work with their documents or mail as if nothing changed, but if they are added or delete content, that's included in the retention policy. A copy of the content is automatically kept in a secure location. The secure location and content are not visible to most people, and in most cases, people don't even need to know that their content is subject to retention setting. Records management. Record is a document or other electronics or physical entities in an organization that serve as evidence of an activity or transaction performed by the organization and requires retention for some period of the time. Microsoft solution for records management helps organizations manage their legal obligations, provides the ability to demonstrate compliance with regulation, and increases efficiency with regular deposition of items that are not longer required to be retired. It supports a full content lifecycle from creation through the collaboration, record declaration, event-based retention, and disposition. Tailored workflow like disposition review, coupled with deep insights, provide great or greater visibility into lineation. Records management in Microsoft Purview help organizations maintain a robust record management and document evidence related to the defensible disposition of corporate records. Many of the same principles of the solution for information governance also apply to the solution for record management, but there are some differences. Those differences include file plan, record declaration, and recover versioning. Some of the great features include labeling content as recorded, migrating and managing retention plan with File Plan Manager, establishing retention and deletion policy within the record label, trigger events-based retention, reviewing and validating disposition, proof of record deletions, exporting information about exposed items, disposed items, setting permissions for record management functions and in organizations. Now we will start with Module 4, Describe Insider Risk Capabilities in Microsoft Purview. In this module, we will describe how Microsoft Purview can help organizations identify insider risk and take appropriate action. Insider risk solution in Microsoft Purview. The biggest fear for modern organization is that the data leaks and that the sensitive data gets stolen. Many organizations are struggling with how to manage their data because they don't have full understanding of huge risk with managing data incorrectly. Most data leaks are caused by the human mistake. Microsoft 365 Purview have developed tools to help organizations with this problem. And that's the Insider Risk Manager. It helps identify and minimize the insider risk to their organization. Insider risk management helps detect, investigate, and take action to mitigate internal risk in your organization from scenarios including data threat by employee, intentional or unintentional leak of confidential information, offensive behavior, and more. How it works. Inside risk management policies are created. Alerts are automatically generated by the risk indicator that match policy conditions. As part of the triage process, reviewer can view alert details for the policy matching. Cases are created for alerts that require investigation into details of the policy match. After cases are investigated, reviewers take action to resolve the case. Communication compliance is an insider risk solution in Microsoft 365 that helps minimize communications risk, helping you detect, capture, and act on inappropriate messages in organizations. Predefined and custom policy allow you to scan internal and external communications for policy matches. So they can be examined by designated reviewers. Reviewers can investigate scan email, Microsoft Teams, Jammer, third-party communication in your organizations, and take appropriate actions to make sure that comply with your organization's message standard. Communication compliance policy in Microsoft 365 help you overcome many modern challenges associated with compliance and internal and external communication, including scanning, increasing type of the communication channel, the increasing value of message data, regulatory enforcement and risk of times. Additionally, there may be a separation of duty between your IT admins and your compliance manager team. Communication compliance supports the separation between configuration of policies and investigation at review of messages. Information barriers. Microsoft Purview Information Barriers, or IB, is a compliance solution that allow you restrict two-way communication and collaboration when needed within groups with user on Microsoft Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, more. Often use is highly industry, can help to avoid conflict of interest and safeguard internal information between users and organizations area. When ID policy in a place, ID policy, user who shouldn't communicate or share files with other specific users won't be able to find, select, chat, or call those users. Now we'll start Module 5, describe e-discovery and audit capabilities in Microsoft Purview. In this module, we will describe discovery capabilities of Microsoft Purview and describe auditing capabilities of Microsoft Purview. E-discovery in Microsoft Purview. Organizations may need to identify and collect information with today's volume of variety of data. That's vital that an organization can do this in an effective and timely manner. E-discovery capabilities can help organizations to achieve the goal. Sometimes a company may find themselves involved in litigation and they need to find electronic information to be used as evidence. Electronic discovery tools can be used to search for content in Exchange Online, mailboxes, Microsoft 365 groups, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Online, OneDrive for Business, Skype for Business, Conversation, Jammer Team. You can search across mailboxes, sites in a single e-discovery search by using the Content Search tool. And you can use core e-discovery case to identify, hold, and export content found in mailboxes and sites. If your organization has an Office 365, E5 license or Microsoft 365 subscription or related add-on subscription, you can further manage custodians and analyze content by using advanced discovery solutions in Microsoft 365. Microsoft Purview provides three e-discovery solutions: Content Search, e-discovery Standard, and e-discovery Premium. Content Search uses the Content Search tool to search for content across Microsoft 365 data sources and then export the search result to the local computer. E-discovery Standard. The e-discovery Standard solution builds on basic search and export functionality of Content Search by enabling you to create e-discovery case and assign e-discovery managers to specific case. The e-discovery Standard solution also lets you associate searches and export with a case and let you place e-discovery hold on content location relevant to the case. E-discovery Premium. E-discovery Premium solution built on an existing capability of e-discovery Standard. In addition, e-discovery Premium provides an end-to-end workflow to identify, preserve, collect, review, analyze, and the export content that's the responsive to your organization's internal and external investigations. It lets legal team to manage the custodians, people that you have identified as a people of interest in that case, and the workflow to communicate with custodians. It allows you to collect copy data into review set, and you can filter, search, and for content, so you can identify and focus on content that's most relevant. The eDiscovery Premium solution provides analytics and machine learning based predictive coding modules to further narrow the scope of your investigation to most relevant content. Policy is designed to help enforce standard and assess compliance across your organization. Common use case for Azure Policy include implementing governance for resource, consistency, regulatory compliance, security, cost, management, etc. Azure Policy evaluates all resources in Azure, enabled resources, specifically source type, hosted outside of Azure. Azure Policy evaluates whether the properties or resources match the business rules. Those business rules are described using JSON format and referred to as policy definitions. For simplified management, you can group together multiple business rules to form a single policy initiative. After business rules has been formed, you can assign the policy definitions or policy initiatives to any scope of resources that are supported, such as management groups, subscriptions, resource group, or individual resource. Evaluations outcomes. Azure Policy evaluates resources at specific time during the resource lifecycle and the policy assignment lifecycle, and for regular ongoing compliance evaluation. The following events or times will trigger evaluation. Resource can be created, deleted, or audited in scope where is the policy assigned. A policy or initiative is newly assigned to the scope. A policy or initiative that has been assigned to the scope is updated. The standard compliance evaluation cycle happens every 24 hours. Organization will vary how they respond to non-compliant resources. Here's some example. Deny a change to resource. Log change to resources. Alter resources before or after the change. Deploy related compliant resources. With Azure Policy, responses like these are made possible by using effects which are specified in policy definitions. It's important not to confuse Azure Policy and Azure Role-Based Access Control. Azure Blueprint. To help you with auditing, visibility, and compliance of your deployments, you can use Azure Blueprints, artifacts, and tools. Azure Blueprint enables cloud architect and central information technology groups to define a repeatable set of Azure resources that implements and adheres to an organization's standards, terms, and requirements. Azure Blueprints make it possible for development team to rapidly build and deploy new environment with the trust they are building with organizational compliance using the set of the built-in components such as networking to speed up deployment and delivering. Blueprints is a declarative way to orchestrate deployment of various resources, templates, and other artifacts such as role assignment, policy assignment, Azure Resource Manager template, resource groups, etc. Azure Blueprints are also useful in Azure DevOps scenario, where blueprints are associated with specific built artifact and release pipelines and can be tracked more rigorously. The process of implementing blueprints consists of several high-level steps. First, create blueprint. Second, assign the blueprint. And third, track the blueprint assignment. With Azure Blueprint, the relationship between Blueprint definitions, and that means what should be deployed, and the Blueprint assignment, that means what was deployed, is preserved. This connection supports improved deployment, tracking, and auditing. Azure Blueprint Service is backed by the global distributed Azure Cosmos databases. Blueprint objects are replicated to the multiple Azure regions. This replication provides low latency, high availability, and consistent access to your Blueprint object, regardless which region Blueprint deploy your resources to. It's time to quickly check what we learned in this last section. Accessing to this e-discovery standard to be able to add and remove members, create and edit searches, and export content from a case, you should be member of e-discovery manager rule group. Managers of this rule group can create and manage e-discovery case. They can also add or remove members, place e-discovery hold on users, create and edit search, and export content from an e-discovery case. To be able to collect and copy data into review set and to be able to filter search and content, use eDiscovery Premium. eDiscovery Premium solution allows you to collect and copy data into review set where you can filter, search, and type content. So you can identify focusing on content that's content most relevant. To preserve the records for high-value crucial event that will help your organization investigate possible security or compliance breaches and terminate the scope of compromises, use Audit Premium. Audit Premium helps you to conduct forensic and compliance investigation by providing access to those crucial events. To identify and protect against risk, like an employee sharing confidential information, use the risk management to help protect your organization against this risk. Microsoft Purview Communication Compliance help minimize communications risk by enabling you to detect, capture, and take remediation action for inappropriate messages in your organizations. With Microsoft Purview information barriers, you are able to restrict communication among specific groups of users when necessary, of course, like through the Microsoft team. When you need to be able to identify important information such as credit card numbers across your organization data, you should use sensitive information type through the data loss information policies. Microsoft provides built-in sensitive information types that you can use to identify data such as credit card numbers. In some emails are confidential. It should be encrypted so that only authorized user can read them. You should use labels. Sensitivity labels can ensure that the email can be only decrypted by user authorized by the labels encryption setting. If your organization keep a hold on the documents in a specific SharePoint site that contain customer information for 5 years, you should implement retention policies. You can use retention policies to define the data retention for all documents in SharePoint site. To access Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal, you need to have minimum Compliance Administrator rule. This is one of the multiple rules you can use to access the Compliance Portal. Compliance Manager is an end-to-end solution in Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal to enable admins to manage and track compliance activity. Compliance Score is a calculation of the overall compliance posture across the organization. When browsing Microsoft documentation in Service Trust Portal, you can find several documents that are specific to your industry. Best way of ensuring you keep up to date with the latest updates of the documents is to saving the documents in the My Library section of the Service Trust portal that will ensure you for latest update. If you want to rapidly provision and run new resources in Azure in a repeatable way that is in line with organization compliance and requirements, you should use Azure Blueprint. Azure Blueprint will enable your developer team to find a repeatable set of Azure resources and achieve short developers' times. If you need to ensure that Azure resources meet your business rule, you should use Azure Policy. Azure Policy is used to ensure that your Azure resources comply with your organizational business rules.